Car meditation. Let's title this one Evolution. You have to evolve, people. There's more to life than just your neighborhood, just your block, just your surroundings. You have to evolve and learn that there's a bigger world with different kinds of people. And when you know that, you won't take everything so personal. Now, I will say this, culturally, black people take a lot of things personal when how people talk, but people from other places and with different dialects, they speak differently because of where they come from. So a lot of times they don't mean any harm, but that's just how they were raised. And we should understand that, because sometimes we are raised because people talk at us instead of talking to us. But you know, you may meet, just for example, not singling anybody out, you may meet a Russian person and they talk stern. You know, not all of them, but some of the, you know, the men and the women, they talk pretty stern, straightforward, direct. You know, same thing with, like, you know, people from the Middle East. They talk stern, they talk direct. Not all, but some of them, they talk stern, they talk direct. You know, because their thing is to get their point across or their message out and heard. You know, they're not trying to finesse you and, you know, warm you up or anything like that, because where they come from, your words hold high value. And, you know, we live in an American society where, you know, people talk soft and kind and lie to you, you know, or, you know, people will talk a certain way and lie to you, you know, instead of just telling you, hey, your engine's busted, you know, and you be like, man, my engine's busted? Yeah, you got to get that fixed. Okay. You know, but here we want someone to tell, oh, well, you know, it's just, the engine's just a little messed up. We can fix that. You know, and it's like, nah, you want somebody to tell you straight up how it is. And a lot of the old school way of growing up, and old school men and women, you know, they would talk direct like that. You know, I grew up around older people, and older people don't sugarcoat anything. They don't, you know, they don't soften nothing. You know, it's like they don't believe that, because they believe that, you know, you got to get the message. You got to get the message. So let me just tell you directly. You know, listen, open up your ears. You know, my grandfather used to say stuff, you know, say some of the things, you know, put something in your head, not on it. You know, what's the matter with you? You know, it's like they would just say things to be direct so you would get the message and get the point. They wasn't trying to soften everything. And so we have to understand that we have to evolve to know that there's different people in the world that grew up different ways and they speak differently, but they don't mean any personal harm to you. They're not trying to insult you. They're not trying to, you'll know when they're trying to insult you, you know, and it's like that will cut down on a lot of hyper reaction when it comes to certain things and people, you know, and people are quick to think that people are disrespecting. It's like, no, it's just, that's a cultural thing. And if you've been around those cultures of people and different cultures, it's like, you know, that people just speak a different way. They speak directly. They speak assertively. They you know, matter of fact, straightforward. You know, they're not trying to sugarcoat anything. You know, it's like, because of where they come from, things are a little bit more serious. You know, and your words matter. And so you have to evolve, people. You have to evolve. I'm not saying go out here and you know, just start searching for people to communicate with, but don't shy away from things if there's other cultures there, you know, because that's your personal human growth. You know, if you sit back and you stay away from those things, you're never going to understand how other people live, and you'll fall victim to believing everything that you hear in media about people around the globe. And then when you go places, you'll fall victim to being ignorant and disrespecting, you know, rules, customs, or laws in other places, because you didn't open up your mind to learn anything. And, you know, man, so Evolve, people. Evolve.